Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. Very happy to welcome Carrie Maletich from Feed My Sheep. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, Carrie, first of all, a number of organizations called Feed My Sheep. So tell us a little bit about what you are about.
Okay, so Feed My Sheep Outreach, downtown Canton. We've been in existence. Our anniversary is actually in November. It'll be 3 years. And we started with 8 cups of coffee and some cups in the back of a van out of the public library downtown.
Wow.
And we grew, in probably 6 months, we grew into 2 tables with hot food and then maybe some mittens and hats and maybe some shoes. And that grew into like 3 vehicles and a little bit of everything, like just really taking care of people, outreach. We're on Facebook, so it says Feed My Sheep Outreach, and we have a logo of a tree. And then the Feed My Sheep is underneath. And we just do Saturday mornings. We do 7 to 9 a.m. So we really stick out because the other organizations that they'll see are more daytime during the week things.
So 7 to 9 a.m. on Saturday mornings.
Yep, downtown Canton. We meet at the United Crossroads Methodist Church, where President McKinley attended. I love saying that.
Yes.
And it helps. It links. And we go down and we have just moved in the building. We had been outside for 2.5 years, feeding even in the winter. We only, in the 2.5 years we were outside, we missed 2 days, 2 Saturdays. We didn't make it. Yeah, and it was, people can check out the Facebook site. We stood in the snow and the rain and the heat and anything. We really have stuck it out, and Crossroads noticed us and just kept watching us grow, and they just felt the need to reach out to us, and we accepted the opportunity to go inside. And it was we didn't go inside till January the 11th of this year. We were inside 2 Saturdays, and COVID hit. So we went right back outside. But what was cool was God had taught us everything we needed to know, where all the other feeding sites were struggling to go outside. We went straight back to where we came from.
Yeah, that was no problem.
No problem. Like, it was so cool. And then we had a hot kitchen behind us so we could feed more hot food, because we were keeping food hot when we were downtown feeding out of the back of a van. But we had the opportunity. We were serving 50 before COVID. And we started serving 100 to 125 and doing 50 to 100 packed lunches every Saturday. And we did that consecutively all of March, April, May, June, and July.
So do you think the numbers doubled or tripled because of COVID? Or are there that many people without any place to go or anything to eat on a Saturday morning?
The other sites closed. You didn't have, like, you couldn't go to like my guys couldn't go to the library because the library was closed. And I mean, when you think about that, restaurants closed. Think of the struggle we had not going out to eat.
Yes.
Now you're looking and everybody had to go right away, go back, like I said, go outside. Well, they don't know how to, God just had laid a path in front of us, and he had showed us everything. He had done so well of teaching us, and we had listened so well. When we stepped back outside, it was awesome. We walked right back outside and started serving hot food and doing lunches, and where everybody else had to stop and think about, how do we do this? And we had already been doing it, so we were like 6 months ahead of everybody else.
Isn't it amazing to think how you were prepared, really, for 2 years prior to this pandemic? Really just getting your legs underneath you and getting it up and running, so that when you were, I mean, I'm sure it was a very nice change to get to go indoors for a little while, a couple of weeks. But,
yeah, too.
But then to go back outside really didn't throw you off your game at all, did it?
No, it was awesome. It was actually we just couldn't, we were watching things go south.
Yes.
We just felt, we were like so blessed. I have a large food industry background, so as restaurants were closing and having produce, they were calling me saying, "Hey, I have $3,500 worth of food. I need to find a home for. Can you please come get it?" I was picking. If people get on the site, they can see the businesses that I had connections like at just certain restaurants where the GM knew that I was doing this, and they called me and they said, "We have 35 gallons of milk. We don't know what to," and because places couldn't open and they couldn't let the food go to waste, and they just had watched us and heard about us, and so all of a sudden God had. That was the other thing. People were struggling to keep their own groceries and their own food, and then to go outside. But all of a sudden, every freezer of every volunteer we knew was full. And we just finished our protein donation from the pandemic donation 2 weeks ago was the last time we used a piece of protein that was frozen. So the food that he gave us at the beginning lasted us completely through while everybody else was struggling to find that protein or find that a way to get outside. He had already given us all the food we needed and had educated us and prepared us to walk right back outside and meet the need 3 times more than what we were meeting before.
I don't have this in my mind right because I'm picturing like maybe a card table or something set up where people stop by. You have a real operation going, don't you? Tell
Well,
tell
if
me
you
about
watch the
it.
pictures, we started
Yes.
with just the back of the van and me sitting on it with a pot of coffee. And it turns into like a flea market look. It took about a
Yes.
year. And then in about a year, the word started to spread. The people started to know that we were there because we really were meeting the people that at 7 a.m., the
Yeah.
people that you meet are different than the people that you meet at 11 a.m. in a soup kitchen. These
How
people are cold.
so?
They've been outside all night.
Oh my.
They sometimes are under the influence still. Sometimes just don't have any place to go and so lost and just not sure. And we've been asked several times, hey, why do you do so early? Why don't you move into a more decent time? And I'm like, because the people we serve, they have no place else to go at 7 o'clock in the morning. You know, they've been walking all night. They're cold and they're hungry and they're tired. And it did grow. We went from the back of the van to like 2 tables. So one table would be like, we had 2 people donating toothbrushes and toothpaste once in a while. And then, then we had the hot food table. And then we started getting more people involved. And all of a sudden we had another car come and that girl always had the coats and the mittens and the hats and the scarves. So then the next vehicle came and they had all the shoes. And then we did that. We really did like 4 vehicles with like 20 volunteers and we served hot food the whole 2 hours. The last bowl was always just as hot as the first bowl and we never had power. I mean, God just had us
Wow.
our back the whole
Just
time.
miraculously?
Well, God's good, and sometimes your cookware has to be that good to hold heat. And my
Wow.
grandma had given me a pan that people probably don't even know exists anymore, and it stays hot. It's almost like a first-time ever crock pot that you didn't plug in, and it stays hot for almost 2 or 3 hours. It's just pure silver.
I was going to say,
So,
what is that made of?
oh, it's awesome, and it's just
Just
nice, and God and it was huge, and so we'd put the
wow.
soup in it, and it would just stay hot, and you can watch that. We just grew, and then we do Christmas morning. Every Christmas morning, we're downtown Canton at 7 a.m. and we have music, and we have gifts for them, and we have a pancake breakfast. And then we're downtown every New Year's Day morning, 7 to 9, and we have pork and sauerkraut, mashed. Like there's certain things that we don't deviate. So we just.
Yeah.
And all to spread the gospel, all to commune with people. And I just heard, the Great Commission is really to step outside of our comfort zone
Yes.
and to commune with people, so that the end result is that we get to talk about the gospel. And today I was sort of crying because I am so blessed to get to do that with people. And I just feel blessed today, that opportunity to just speak his name into other people's lives and to talk about him to them.
Yes.
It's a great feeling.
It certainly is. I'm wondering, I had another ministry tell me that they noticed about half of the people now driving up for supplies and food and such had never been to a place like this before. That these were people who, for having to close down their businesses or whatever, they may have been at some point where they were responsible for employing many, many people, but at this point they're finding themselves without any kind of an income. Have you noticed the same kind of thing, that some people are coming to you now for the first time ever needing a bit of a hand up?
Yeah, it was, we right away the first week, and even just during the summer, more women and children. See, we used to be, I'm not going to say all men, but 95%, and because very few women end up sleeping outdoors because they can go, there's more resources for women to walk into, so they don't have to be outside, whereas men struggle with that a little bit more. And so our population was men. And then all of a sudden that first week, like I bet like the first 10 calls was all women and children. Like a woman who was like, she worked at a restaurant and the restaurant closed. Well, she was supposed to make tips that day. She really had nothing. She was going to go to work, make her tips, and I had been a waitress, so I knew that feeling of like, I'm going to make $25 tonight, and I'm going to go buy my milk and my eggs and my bread and my cereal, and we'll be okay. $5 in gas, and that was the people. And it was crazy because like that produce that I talked about, God blessed us with all that food. I mean, there was like 15 or 16 restaurants in Stark County that called us with a completely full refrigerator that needed help. I took that food, and me and my volunteers split it up, and we helped like Tikva, which is Women and Children Downtown.
Sure.
We partnered with them and made food boxes. And then I had people in my own neighborhood that were struggling, women and children, and HUD homes and things like that. And so the population did change. Now that things have settled down a little bit more, it's maybe not as much, but the church that we're located in, on Saturday mornings, Crossroads United downtown, they definitely are seeing more need for winter coats for the kids, because here you go, you haven't worked for a couple months, jobs are just getting back, and so more mittens and hats for kids, and we're getting asked for shoes for kids more. We, it was crazy because we didn't get asked for school supplies. Nobody knew, and we were waiting on that to come, but it really didn't, because I think most people were just glad to be able to buy a pack of paper and a couple pens. But now the winter necessities are coming, and it's really, we can see the need already rising.
Where do you store everything?
Crossroads United Methodist has given, they are actually getting ready to open something in the future where people can come and free shop. And so he has a basement. The basement of that church is completely empty. It's not completely empty now, but we keep everything down there. Everything's sized and organized and clean. And we just really give out a lot of things. Like this morning we gave out, in 2 hours that I was down this morning to help with a project, we gave out 27 coats to people that were outside on the street.
Wow. I'm sure there are some people listening saying, well, we need to get rid of some coats. The kids have grown out of some things. They don't fit anymore, or for whatever reason, we've got ourselves with a closet full of coats that nobody wears anymore. Where do we bring those?
You take those to 120 Tuscarawas Ave or Cleveland Avenue, South. My address.
That's okay.
Southwest, Canton, Ohio. It's the Crossroads United Methodist. Hours are Tuesday through Friday, 9:30 to 3:30.
Okay.
All they need to do is ring the front doorbell and tell them they're dropping coats for the free store.
So go to Crossroads United Methodist, 120 Cleveland Avenue, Southwest, and just ring the bell. Between 9:30 and 3:30. And now, do you have enough food because of all the different restaurants and so forth? Because as they're starting to open back up, I don't know if they're still able to be so generous or looking for a place to take their extras. Do you need food donations as well?
Well, here's the thing. God has always supplied us.
Yeah.
Can I be honest? We have never done without. And somebody asked me today, if I ever wrote a grant or done things like that. We've never had, I asked, you'll watch the page. If I need something, I put it out there.
Perfect.
So what I would tell people, if they're looking to donate or help in that fashion, to just watch the Facebook page, because today it might be chapstick. Tomorrow it might be gloves. The next day it might be Vaseline, foot spray. Depends on the supply and the weather. But if they watch the page, I stay very attached to the page, and they can always message me through Messenger. One of the great things is that we have no cost. There's no cost to feed my sheep. There's no output. We don't have a cost for paper, supplies, anything. Everything is done through that Facebook page, including Messenger. That's why we don't have a website.
A ministry with no overhead whatsoever.
No, 100%. And I love saying that. Watch this. Ready? 100% of everything that people donate goes to the people who need it the most.
Yes. Okay, everybody, like this page right now. It's Facebook. It's Feed My Sheep Outreach in Canton. Make sure you've got the Canton one. Look for the icon of the tree. So Facebook, Feed My Sheep Outreach in Canton. You'll find it. Like that page, and then keep checking back and back over and over to be able to figure out what Carrie's need is today. We'll be back with Carrie Malatich and Feed My Sheep after these words. You're listening to Our Community. Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting with Carrie Malatich, who is the founder of Feed My Sheep in downtown Canton. You can find them, see what they're about. If you want to get up on Saturday morning and travel to downtown Canton in front of Crossroads, you'll see them between 7 and 9 a.m. distributing everything that people need during this trying time. Carrie, you never would have guessed a couple of years ago that this is where God would take you, right?
Nope, it's exactly where God told me he was going to take me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part. He he knew where he wanted me to go, and we
Yeah.
had a long conversation, and I just promised him to always follow where he took me, and I've never doubted any of the things that he has led me. And there's still things to come.
Oh,
We are
sure.
definitely working on showers. We have 3 showers and a laundry facility down at Crossroads that we're raising funds for. People, they can see that on our page. But see,
Nice.
that's really where God is. Like I said, he trained us to go to be outside and then to be able to feed more and then to give us stuff to go. Now he's given us all of that, and we're giving it to people that don't have showers. So what
Mm.
he is, the real end result is 3 showers and 2 laundry facilities at the church downtown, and that's our newest, biggest project, and we're halfway with our fundraiser. But I think in the end, that's where it's going to stop for us. The rest of the church might keep growing, but him and I, his plan for me is to just, people need to be bathed and clean, and
Yes.
there's just a lot in that, and it came from washing feet was something he led all my life for a long time, and that's why I do the sock drive that I talked with Jim Burney about the other day,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
when you wash somebody's feet, it just changes how your relationship with them, and he led that all my life, and I knew sooner or later we were going to get showers. I just didn't know where, and it's funny because different times in the page in the last 3 years I've mentioned, someday we'll have a shower truck, or someday God's going to have it, and he's really got it in the works.
Wow.
And so I did know we were headed here because he really made it really known to me.
Yeah.
He laid it right in front of me and said, this is where we're headed. If you listen to me and you follow me, this community can be helped. And so I just keep doing it.
Tell me about the relationships. I think that's something that really needs to build, particularly when you're serving somebody. They can be really suspicious of your motives, and it takes some time to build some trust when you are going down. You don't want to make people feel like, here, I'm swooping in to lower myself to help you, but instead valuing them as a person. Talk to me about how that trust has built and how those relationships have built as those people feel valued.
We have some people that help us now on Saturday morning,
Cool.
where we met them because of their need, and they're still in need. They're in need the Saturday that they're washing their hands to cut donuts, but it gives them a place. I tell people, when people call and talk to me about volunteering, we're very different than other places. We are not your normal soup kitchen. You're not going to, we pray and we talk about the Lord and we lay hands on people and we really spend time with them.
Mm-hmm.
There's not so much of a sermon. It's more like loving on them.
Yes.
The real showing them that love really exists and that God is true, more than just telling them about him over. And I think it's different for us because we actually have names and numbers of people. Like when they come in, it's almost like your kitchen at your grandma's. Like when they come in the back door, they help us unload the car. Then, I know there's certain ones that like to put the clothes away. And we've built friendships.
Yes.
Like it's not just a Saturday morning thing for some of our folks now. And we actually had the opportunity to take a paid position somewhere outside of that community downtown and start something like what we have going. And we turned that down because it takes a long time to build that up where I know people's names. My folks downtown, because I was a server, so God has given me that gift of like, oh, hi, so-and-so.
Yes.
I remember you from 2 weeks ago because I have that, and he's given me that ability. And it pays off downtown because when they come in and I recall them or somebody else, like we really do tag team people when they come in. We're like, hey, how are you? What's your name? This is my name. It takes every brick that has been built in their life. You have to one at a time take that brick down and lay it on the ground and give them another brick of love to put up in that spot. And you take the walls down. And it takes a long time because they all have a story too. That's the heartbreaking part. Is everybody has a story.
Yes.
And every story is their story, and you can't change that today. But what I can tell them is that the gospel can take, and Jesus is real, and the eternal life is really where you want to be, and he can wash all those feelings away, and all of that all that luggage and baggage that we're carrying that makes us do the things that we do, that make us sleep outside at 7 o'clock in the morning at night. It's a different kind of person that we serve on Saturday mornings, so we just love them differently.
Yes.
it's good for them to know that somebody remembers their name and they count somewhere.
Absolutely. I love that C.S. Lewis quote. Might not be able to go back and change the beginning of your story, but you can start right now and change the ending. And you are changing the ending of stories downtown. I'm interested in the volunteer aspect of this. How does a person volunteer? Is there any training involved? Do you just have to be a hearty soul ready to stand outdoors in whatever weather?
Boy, that sounds like all of it. Really, this is what we do. We just ask them to contact me, just so I can go over a couple of, we don't have any. They do have to sign a waiver when they come down in case we've never had anything happen, but just in case something would happen. And then really outside of that, there's just a couple of side roles that I go over, dress appropriately, we don't hand out money, we don't carry wallets, we don't wear jewelry, Actually, it's, I tell them the perfect example is a gentleman that, we have a shower video attached to the shower. A gentleman, local artist, wrote us a song and made a video for the showers. And in that video is a gentleman that we've known for almost 2.5 years. And he is very much my friend. I give him a ride home. I put a pillow away when I get a clean pillow once in a while. And the other day, 2 Saturdays ago, we were standing in the crowd, and they were teasing, and somebody said to him, "What's her name?" And they were pointing at me, and he said, "I don't know her name. He has been my friend for 2.5 years, and he don't know my name." And that's how I want it to be. I don't want them to know it I want them to see the Lord and the light of the Lord.
Yes.
It's really not about who we are. So when we do that, I just make sure volunteers understand that when they come in, I fit really in. I sit with people, and they don't know I really am there I get a lot of, "Why are you here? What brings you here?" And I'm like, "Well, I just hang out." And they're like, "Oh," and then all of a sudden I'll get a volunteer come up and be like, Carrie, something's going on." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And they're going, "This is your gig?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't, we blend."
Yes.
There's a lot of blending, a lot of community. Yeah, it's a coffee shop feel. I tell people that. And here's the crowd that Jesus has laid on my heart. We need men who want to drink coffee with other men and let them know that there is a way.
Yeah.
There's that you're not stuck there. And a lot of men who are faithful to the Lord now and were lost before is now, I'm calling them to step out and to come downtown and say, "Hey, I was lost. I did the same things you did, and maybe not exactly the same things, but look, the Lord found me, and he knocked, and I'm here to knock for him. I'm his knock. Talk to me. Drink coffee with me." And because they don't hold back. I tell people, it's not like it's not pulling teeth. These people really do want somebody to know them and to know their name, and they want to know that they matter to somebody. And I want them to know that they matter to the Lord.
I love that. It doesn't matter to you whether they know your name or not. In fact, you prefer they don't. You can just blend in, but it is critical that you know theirs and that they know that God knows theirs.
Yep. You're on it. We have not told them, and there's just a big gap,
Yeah.
And loving them, they're really hard to love. A lot of my folks don't have a bath for 4 and 5 days at a time, and maybe don't have all their teeth, and maybe their clothes aren't exactly, and I'm cool with that. When I go downtown now, it's funny because I have more friends downtown than I do. I'm really good in my neighborhood. My neighbors love me.
Yes.
But when I get downtown and I'm in my car, people know me by my car and they're waving, and I watch people in other cars look and go, "How does she know them?" And I'm like, "That's my friend. I know her." Hey.
Wow.
And I really feel drawn there. And me and my husband continue to, when the showers open, it's only going to make God vested. He is so vested in these people, and we just really want them to know that he sent us for them. He sent us to knock. We are his knocking, and that's what we're there for. So
maybe a local dentist would also be willing to come down once a month or something and serve.
I'll tell you, we're looking for a couple things. We're looking for maybe a hairdresser at some point. Haircuts would be amazing. And we're working with a gentleman right now. I think some of the issues are running water, kind of how we would do it. But we're always looking, that was on our hearts. A dentist has been on our hearts, and a podiatrist. We see a lot because they walk. I don't think people understand how much I don't think people understand how exhausting being homeless is.
Oh, my
to be on
goodness.
the
Yeah.
move,
Yeah.
to never get to sit down. To when you sit down, you're told to get up and move. You don't ever get to lay down and be comfortable. It's a very exhausting, and we have a lot of feet issues. Things like I would love to do that once the showers go. I'm really pushing like for that because that's when because now they're stuck at when they get a shower, they'll have laundry and they'll be with us longer. So
Yes.
we'll get to commune with them more, and I'm hoping to like get a cycle going that there's some medical care and some hygiene help with the hair.
Yes. I'm sure
Yeah.
someone is listening of those occupations and they can just contact you. How do they get a hold of you, Carrie? What's the best way? Message you on
Yeah,
Facebook?
they can do that, but really I put my number out there. I'm one of those crazy. So just call Carrie at 330-933-6078. And that's really for anybody. Volunteers can call that. And we do take groups, and we do take youth. I don't want people to think it's an adult only. If you watch our pictures, we have some young gentlemen and some young ladies that come down. They are supervised. Nobody's ever left alone or anything, but that helps everybody. Our
Yes.
younger crowd really comes in, and they are really eye-opened. Even when they're in the kitchen and they see people come to the window and watch what happens and listen, when they watch us lay hands on people and pray, I don't think we do that enough. And it's a very big visual for them to see us drinking coffee with somebody, and then when the tears start and their cancer has got them beat and we lay hands and pray with them, I think it changes everybody involved.
Yes, absolutely. Do you have to go through protocols to keep people safe? I'm sure you want to keep your volunteers safe. Are you taking temperatures or?
No, it's just really the masks and sanitizer, and then we have restrooms. I think now volunteers, it's in the back, so I just did the waiver, and we just wash our hands, and just like a restaurant, wear gloves,
Yep.
and we stay contained 6 feet away from everybody. But I think the thing about our population is most of our guys don't have masks, and they're struggling to even keep themselves clean. So like on their side, it's a little bit different. It just we offer masks, we have masks to give, but a lot of them have health issues, and a lot of them have struggle with being told what to do. I mean, we have a lot of mental disability, so we just, we do what we can do on the
Yes.
outside.
Yes.
We're nobody's sick. We have not had anybody sick, so,
And you make masks available to them if someone wants one. Yeah.
We take masks as donations. If anybody out there hears that, we've had to purchase masks the last 4 weeks, so we're doing that. But if anybody makes them and would like for me to pick them up, we would love some mask donations. So
What would you like Feed My Sheep to look like a year from now?
to be open downtown Crossroads, to have 3 showers and 2 washer and dryers up and running, to have the free clothing store doors open during the day, to be offering fresh produce during the day, Tuesday through Friday. It's really going to be that end of that building is going to become a focal point for us because God's going to open it up like a free mini mall for the people that need it.
Awesome.
It's going to everything in one area, and then warmth and heat, and then the love of Christ, because they do have we have a sanctuary we'll have. So we can pray with people, and we can have a little bit of a worship group once in a while. And we do have some musicians that have come down. If you watch our page at Christmas and just in different times when they're led by God, we have people come play music once in a while, sit in the corner and play the guitar, or
Yeah. Go to Facebook, Feed My Sheep Outreach of Canton. Call this number, 330-933-6078. That's 330-933-6078. Carrie Miletich, thank you so much for all you do in our community.
Oh, no, thank you, 95.9 and The Light, for giving me the opportunity to spread the word.